March to Freedom, Day 22. Welcome back to Dudes Ascend, where we talk about how to elevate ourselves as men. My name is Hamilton. We're on day 22 of our 30-day March to Freedom from Porn Challenge. And today, I want to show you guys another video. I'm going to be reacting to it. And this is a video by coming from the Pinnacle of Man YouTube channel. And this is a guy named Josh Hudson, who is a licensed therapist. So he knows what he's talking about, but all of his content is very much about like dopamine challenges, dopamine cleansing, rewiring your brain from dopamine addiction, or specifically porn addiction, which is something I've talked a lot about in my previous videos of how the reason why porn can be such a strong super drug addiction is because of the massive floods of dopamine that it's like a tsunami of dopamine on your brain, and the ways that really affects your reward center of your brain. This video, I wanted to watch it today. This video is called 4 Ways Edging is Worse Than Relapse. So before I get into that, what is edging? Edging is when you are working on getting sober from porn, or quitting porn, or taking a NoFap challenge. NoFap is like a big community that you can find on Reddit. Lots of guys on YouTube talking about their NoFap challenges, and that's when they're trying to abstain from porn, masturbation, and orgasm. Now, the most important one here is the porn part, because that's the one that provides those huge floods of dopamine to your brain. Masturbation and orgasm, those are parts of the challenge that you can kind of decide for yourself whether or not you want to abstain from masturbation and orgasm as well. There's many people, experts, and in 12-step circles and things, that will suggest abstaining from all 3 to really allow your brain the chance to like fully detox from this dopamine addictive cycle, go through the withdrawal, and really come out with a fully like rewired brain and receive all of the benefits from a NoFap challenge or semen retention challenge that many people talk about. They gain like superpowers, right? But it's what they're talking about is these huge boosts of motivation, huge boosts of energy level, clarity, brain power. You know, your brain is like turned on times 10. And I wanted to look at this, what he has to say about edging in particular, because before I even get into it, if you are someone who's edging is when you are working on not watching porn, but maybe you're like, oh, well, I'm just going to watch a little bit, right? Maybe you go on, you're watching, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's nice. But you don't allow yourself to release. You don't get to the point of orgasm. You might even be masturbating, stroking it a little bit, whatever. But you don't allow that release to happen. That's what edging is. You put it away. This is a very slippery slope, because it's easy to justify, and I'm going to say this from my own experience. I've done this mistake thousands of times, where I've been trying to stay abstinent, stay on a PMO challenge, and I've started edging, maybe watching little clips or whatever, maybe got triggered by something on Instagram, maybe got triggered by something on YouTube. I see a thumbnail and I click, oh, that looks nice. Now I find myself getting aroused, but then I put it away. I'm like, what am I doing? And put it away. But it's almost like too late at that point, because you've already flipped the switch on the addicted reward center of your brain, and it's almost guaranteed that hours later, the next day, later at night, or the next morning when you wake up, you're still in that higher arousal state, and you're just like 95% more likely to go back to watching those stimulating images. It's like everything in your brain and your body is going to be telling you more, and your brain is jacked up at that point. because when you start going back to it, it's like you're getting to this high arousal point and then never having the release and never coming back down and regulating again. You're just staying at this high arousal, where there's these massive floods of dopamine coming to your brain for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and that just wrecks your reward circuitry of your brain. I mean, it absolutely wrecks it. What it does is it makes it so that the dopamine receptors of your brain are literally lessened to where you're not going to be getting enjoyment or satisfaction from regular things in life. It's why this addiction, when it's gotten to a bad point like this, where you are edging or whatever, seeking these longer highs, you can feel severely depressed. In regular life, you could feel like regular tasks are overwhelming, or just like you don't care, you have no motivation. All those things is because of the way that edging in particular is destroying your brain. So before I even get into it, I'm telling you right now, if you're fooling yourself into thinking that, oh, I only watched a little bit, but then I walked away from it and I didn't release, so my streak is still going, I'm still on like day 10, day 20, you're only lying to yourself, and you're actually doing your brain more harm with that pattern than if you were to just start it, get it over with, have the release, have that moment of clarity that comes after the release of like, crap, I did it again. Now I need to get my shit together kind of thing. You're never getting to that moment of clarity while you're edging. You're just staying in this high arousal state for longer periods of time, doing more damage to your brain. It's bad news, man. So I want to see what this guy has to say about it, and let's get into it.
How you feel? There's one thing that is far worse than you relapsing to PEMO. Now, you probably know it by the title of the video, or if you don't, it's edging. Yeah. So don't click away though, because I'm going to give you 5 reasons why that is, and then 2 practical tips on how to deal with your edging and overcome it. So
okay, so right off the bat, these videos are high quality. Before I even get in any further, make sure you go check out his channel if you're really getting serious about this challenge and you want to learn more. Like I said, this guy is a licensed therapist, so it seems like he's got really good content. His channel is called Pinnacle of Man. Subscribe to that channel right now. Check out his stuff. This video is titled 4 Ways Edging is Worse Than Relapse, and how to prevent it. So he's going to give us some good tips on how to prevent that too, so that'll be good. So make sure you watch all the way through this to hear his tips. And while you're at it, subscribe to my channel too, Dudes Ascend. Hit the subscribe button now. It really helps my channel grow. I want to have more conversations like this guy is putting out there. I want to add my experience to it, even though I'm not a licensed therapist, I'm not a professional. I've been dealing with this addiction for years, a decade of having the addiction before I even started working on recovering from it. And I've been recovering from it and working on recovery for like 5 years now, and tried everything in the book, from 12-step circles to all that. So I'm still not fully recovered. I'm watching this video today because I found myself edging yesterday, so I wanted to dig into that topic because I know it's a thing that a lot of people wrestle with when they're trying a no-fap challenge or trying a semen retention challenge. It's a question that comes up a lot. We'll see what he has to say about it, but there's some pretty serious effects of it and implications for your brain.
You never do it ever again. And also at the end of the video, I'm going to give you a chance to join my Dopamine Discipline program absolutely for free by just sticking to the end of the video.
Okay, so he's got a program.
So let's just
be something to check out.
Okay, so let's briefly go over the 5 damaging effects that edging has on you. Now, as you can see here, the first one is, I recorded this before and the audio messed up, that's why they're all written in already, but the first is trashing your reward circuitry. All right, so when you're constantly getting this immediate pleasure, this need, this thing that gives you a lot of reward through watching PMO, what happens is your brain, it starts to get confused. Like, oh wait, I don't need to have as much energy and output to get this massive need we have. Okay, so then how much, need do I really have to go get food or talk to a girl or develop a business or study for this exam? You're destroying your delayed gratification muscle, and you get confused, or at least your brain does, about what's a priority in your life as far as needs go. Because if you're getting to sex, this core need of what you have in life, so rapid and easy in succession, your brain is also saying to itself, well, I guess we don't need to do anything else that's hard in our life. So you go to junk food. So you don't try to get that job. So you don't go off and do things that are best for you. Now the second thing is...
So that first one, that's exactly what I was just talking about, how this really staying at these sustained levels of floods of dopamine, it's conditioning your brain to that instant gratification, to only care about, or like you're training yourself to think, oh, I can get like huge floods of dopamine, this feel-good chemical, just from doing nothing, like clicking a button on a screen. And sitting there, I can feel great for hours. You're training yourself to not really be able to go through the delayed gratification. When I talked about short-term rewards versus long-term rewards, I think that was my day 15 video. Delayed gratification is the part of our brain that we need to use when we're really moving towards anything that's like actually gratifying, fulfilling in life. It's often like this delayed gratification system when you're building a business, when you're building a relationship with a partner, all those things. Like, those things take time and effort and energy. And if you've conditioned yourself to feel like it's not worth it to go for those things, you'll never have real, fulfilling happiness. The long-term effort that it takes to build those things results in long-term rewards, and you've actually lasting fulfillment and happiness. And this short-term gratification does not last, and it leaves you feeling trashed and empty and depressed afterwards.
Are best for you.
So let's see number 2.
The second thing is it alters your decision-making process. Now, as I said before, as your day goes about, your ability to have willpower diminishes over time. Studies show that willpower is like a muscle. Okay? And the more you use it, actually, it depletes as the day goes on. Now, when you're doing something like edging, just bathing in all this dopamine, what's happening is that your ability to regulate your emotions and have dopamine released in a natural and orderly and organic way is diminished. And so your willpower reserves gets vastly diminished as well. And simple decisions give you more fatigue over time, because your brain thinks to itself, why do I have to make these hard decisions if I can just be rewarded whenever I want? Number 3 is that...
So that's, again, kind of the same thing, right? Like, you are less equipped to deal with the regular day-to-day problems of life, because your brain is like, I don't want to deal with this. This is like not instantly giving me that feel-good drug. And it actually prevents you from having dopamine from regular enjoyable things like nature or having fun with friends or whatever. Everything's going to seem more boring, more tedious, more tiresome, overwhelming, and you're just not going to want to deal with anything. And that makes you feel depressed as shit, dude, which I can relate to, man. This is why I'm wanting to quit porn, because every time I go through relapse, or I go through days of edging and then finally relapse, it's like how I feel afterwards is so wrecked. Like, I just feel like I can't function. It's awful. Can't focus on anything, don't enjoy anything, just low. And that's it's not a good place to be. Let's see number 3.
Number 3 is that it eradicates your motivation. I talk about this in every single video that I post about NoFap. However, essentially, between your synapses, these little neurons, they're firing all this dopamine between the synapses when you're watching PMO. Abundance of it. And your brain is a regulatory system. It produces homeostasis, which means it tries to find balance. And so when you release a lot of dopamine through watching PMO, especially edging constantly for hours, looking at tabs, all this stimulation, that excess of dopamine, when you're no longer watching it anymore, there's going to be less dopamine in between your synapses than normal. Therefore, less dopamine equals less motivation on average.
Okay, so again, it's kind of the same idea when your reward center is being so depleted, you're literally not equipped to have that dopamine released or created in the brain after these huge binges, and this edging where you're just bathing in dopamine. It just destroys your motivation. You don't feel like doing anything. And again, that's not a good place to be, man. It sucks. It sucks. So let's see number 4.
The fourth thing is that it destroys your energy reserves. Okay, I don't have to explain how that works. You know personally, the last time you relapsed, the last time you edged, you just felt like, I don't feel like doing anything. And for number 5, we're going to go back to the office with the other Josh. So number 5 is absolutely insane. Of course, I saved the best for last. Silence Daily posted an article saying habit formation is enabled by a gateway to brain cells. Now, I'm not going to go over the whole thing with you. I'm going to give you the most meat and bones of it all, right? So
again, a lot of these are actually very similar. They're all tying into motivation and your brain's ability to just be present in life, like enjoy life, get up and move towards your goals and dreams and actions. Like it's robbing all of that from us. So this is why when people are like, oh, porn is good for me, like whatever, porn's normal, everybody does it, like this is the stuff that nobody's really acknowledging or talking about, that it really, really does a number on your ability to enjoy life. And there, I think it's a huge part of the picture of like this mental health pandemic that we're dealing with, these huge rises in depression statistics and mental health issues, and rates of divorce skyrocketing, and people's ability to have relationships and things, and even economic troubles. It's like when you're not motivated to do anything, it's hard to improve your life situation because you can't gather up the energy and the motivation to build things, build success. So let's see what this last one he's talking about, a specific study.
Research published here in the Journal of Neurons shows that the NMDA receptors on dopamine neurons in the brain's basal ganglia are essential for habit formation. So I'm not going to break down the whole entire article for you. I'll give you the main gist. Basically what it's trying to tell you is that the longer you sit there and edge and look at photos and videos and have 50 different tabs open and you're not releasing or finishing, what this is doing is that it's making a stronger connection with your triggers and the act of edging, which is, as you know by now, destroying your dopamine systems. So it is far worse to spend 1 to 2 hours looking at photos, looking at videos, 50 different tabs, and then not finishing than it is to just get on and finish in like 1 or 2 minutes. Well, I mean, there are sexual implications of all that we're not going to cover in this video, but you get the point. As far as dopamine goes, edging is far worse.
So yeah, there's mixed studies, and if you want to talk about like what he's mentioning there, the sexual implications of like, some people think that by exploring edging and stuff, you're building this ability to last longer and whatnot, and some of that is true in a way, where like you're training yourself to be able to have sex for longer periods of time without like having sex and then instantly, busting, like kind of like premature ejaculation type things, or as a lover, if you were in a relationship or whatever, typically you want to be able to last longer, but the key here is like trying to train yourself to have longer stamina and stuff by edging with porn is a really bad idea. It's a really bad idea because that's just doing all kinds of damage to your brain, and what the perceived benefits of like giving yourself longer stamina or like becoming a better lover. You're not actually becoming a better lover because you're destroying your ability to be present. You're not going to be able to connect with a partner or really have meaningful connections, your mind is going to be jacked, man, and you're conditioning yourself to have this like short-term gratification. You're not going to have the patience or the presence to really connect with a partner. So but if you are interested in exploring some of those other things, check out David Data's books. Deida, David Data. Way of the Superior Man is one of his most well-known books, but there's also like Experiencing God Through Sex, I think, is another one of his books. I've read like 3 of his books, and they're all really fascinating, and they talk about how to actually move your sexual energy and how sexual energy is your creative energy. And there are ways to enjoy sex and have great, very enjoyable sex without orgasm, which I mentioned a little bit the past couple days. But you can't be like trying to train yourself to do that with porn. It's the dopamine thing is too much of a problem. Yeah, check out David Data's books if you want to learn a bit more about that. And these other things that he was talking about of like conditioning yourself to the short-term gratification and destroying your motivation and willpower. That's why what I've been talking about the last couple days with exercise, that's like the complete opposite of that, where you're actually building that motivation, you're building that ability to exert your willpower, you're building the ability to have increased motivation and all these, and vitality and all that stuff. So again, that's why exercise is really important. But let's see what he has to say about tools to how to prevent this edging.
In fact, I was recently talking to a client one-on-one. He said, Josh, he really gave me a really good metaphor for it all. He goes, it's almost as if I was taking a dopamine bath, just bathing in all this dopamine, just like having it wash over me. Except for you don't feel clean after it. You feel weak and shameful and dirty and just empty as a man. All right, so the first proactive strategy, proactive meaning before you actually have an urge, right? It's proactive, you're doing it before, right? And then reactive will be later. For the first proactive strategy, it's a very simple one. Okay, a lot of guys in the program, they'll do this. It helps a lot. So the first proactive strategy to reduce your urges and the prevention of edging is to grayscale your phone. Studies show that when it's grayscaled, which means it's basically on black and white, every phone has the ability to do this. There's less dopamine when you look at it. Color produces a lot more dopamine. So simple, small tip, but the second one's a lot bigger. The second...
That's interesting. I never knew that, like, just not having color on your phone reduced the dopamine. So that's a cool thing to try. I might actually try that. Even if you're not, like, looking at porn or whatever, there are all kinds of apps. Anytime you get a notification on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, that's hitting that dopamine button. So if there's a way to lessen how much dopamine you're getting from your phone, we all probably use our phones a lot, even if we're not watching porn, to reduce that dopamine hit by something as simple as making it black and white. Why not?
Second thing is to track your habits. Look, if you don't know exactly what you're doing or what's causing your urges, you're never going to be able to prevent it. Okay? Now the main triggers for your urges, as I say in every single video, what's the first one? Stress. Numero uno, right? When you're stressed out, you want to go escape through your habit, your preferred habit. Boredom, loneliness. Now there are other triggers as well, clearly, but these are the main 3. Okay, so what is a daily...
So this is really important. This is why I've suggested in some of my previous videos on like the 21-day challenge that I did before, I talked about the importance of daily journaling, taking notes anytime you have a relapse, to understand what your habits are. I even had a video about like the 3 circles, which is a really great exercise for identifying what your triggers are. But yeah, stress, boredom, loneliness are definitely big ones. Like experienced a relapse with like edging and stuff yesterday, and I had 2 therapy sessions yesterday. I did one with my therapist, and then a therapist that my wife and I are going to be working with later on in the week. So I did a session with her by myself, and I did those like kind of back to back, like a couple hours after each other. So it was a lot of like emotional stuff being talked about, being processed, and that leads to like stress. You're like thinking about stressful stuff, relationship issues, um, whatever it is. So I think that definitely played a part. Some other big triggers that like 12-step circles talk about, like the trifecta, is like angry, hungry, and I think tired are the other ones. So like getting good rest, making sure you're not allowing yourself to get too ramped up and pissed off, or when you're noticing that you are pissed off, like doing things to de-escalate yourself, like exercise, getting the energy out, taking a walk, um, and just eating well, like eating healthy, make sure you're getting good nutrition and stuff, feeding your brain and your body, because like these habits, like you mentioned, you can be so lost in an edging pattern where like you're forgetting to even eat. You're just going hours and hours. Your brain's like, I don't need food. That's great. I feel great right now. So big thing here to track your habits. Take notes when, especially after a relapse, and also take notes on what's working for you.
Habits that you can measure with both of those that counteracts these things, right? So for stress, how can you manage your stress? How can you measure your stress? For a lot of people, simply just a 1 through 10 scale is enough. So you have a little sheet and you say, cool, today was this level of stress or this level. Or you can say like meditation, like did I meditate today? Or did I do whatever habits you have that
was our
reduces
day
your stress
one.
level? Eating healthy, working out, all these things that are primal in importance that reduces your stress. The next thing is boredom. The opposite of that is connection, right? Asking yourself, when was the last time I connected with someone? Okay? And measure this. Every single day, or most days, when I walk around the bay after I'm done with work, I call someone, or I'm already walking with someone I know. I play soccer twice a week, right? That's my connection as well. Hanging out with people on the weekend that I know. Are you having connection when you are bored? Sorry.
Connection is big. You can't, don't try to do this challenge by yourself. We all need support, especially when you're dealing with something like this. Like addiction also thrives in isolation, especially something like porn is something that you're pretty much always doing in the isolation of your own home by yourself. So the more that you can connect with friends, family, spend time with other people, the less time you're going to have to potentially act out with porn.
Right, that's connection is loneliness. Boredom is just purpose, right? How much time did you spend on your purpose in life, whether it's school, whether it's finishing a project, whether it's some side hobby you have, whatever you're passionate about in life. Now, when you can quantify all this through an Excel sheet or different...
So finding your purpose, that's why I talked about, I really suggested strongly to you guys days ago. I don't know what day it was, but maybe multiple times during this challenge, write out your goals and dreams and put those little steps towards how you're going to start building your business, how you're going to start making more money or whatever. Break it down into little steps and put it on your to-do list for the day. And that's going to be one way to combat that boredom. You start seeing yourself taking action to move towards what you want your life to look like. You're not going to feel bored while you're doing that.
Different apps. I use the app Dailyo. It's not sponsored, but it tracks your habits, and you can connect on the bottom a little note what your urges were that day.
So he's talking about this app. I really recommend this app called Fortify. It's specifically for overcoming porn addiction, and it has a tracker for each day, whether you had success that day or you had a relapse, and it tracks what emotions you were dealing with. And they also have tons of really helpful resources of information, of like little educational videos, lessons to go through. A lot of things that I share with you guys, I've gotten from that app, Fortify. It's great. I think it's like $14 to purchase, and you get, incredible resource. Definitely recommend it, Fortify, and it'll give you a system to track your days.
And you can see through a graph like what it is, right? And you can measure like, okay, cool, I'm noticing a new theme here. That every time on the weekends, I have strong urges, and the reason why that is because I have alone time. When I have alone time, I get stressed out, right? Or I have lack of purpose in life because I'm not at my job. Or I'm pretty lonely on the weekends because I'm single and I don't know what to do, right? But when you can measure and understand what's causing your urges in the first place to go edge, and you can quantify it and see it on paper or a phone, you can do more about it, okay?
Yeah, that's what like Fortify app, my daily tracker showed me that like, it's why I mentioned 7 to 10 days is a tricky zone for me anyway, because that's usually like I can see on my calendar like a lot of times my relapses happen about 7 to 10 days apart from each other. So I know now that like going into those few days, like 7 to 10 days in from staying away from porn, I should be wary because that's when the urges start to come up strongest for me. And so if I can extra fill my day with connection, meditation, exercise, moving towards my dreams and stuff during those days, I'm preparing myself for success.
Reactive strategy now. So the reactive strategy is when you're feeling the urge already, right? When you're in the middle of watching you're going to have all those tabs open.
This is important. Voice. So now he's giving something for the trigger's already been switched, something already triggered you, and now you're feeling amped up, excited, and you're really wanting to watch porn or maybe even peaked a little bit. What do you do then? Let's see what he has to say.
In your head, and it's telling you just exit, just tap that exit tab. You can walk away, man. You can walk away from all this, man. Right? Well, here's how you can actually walk away and avoid further destruction of your dopamine system. Now I go into a deep level understanding of all this. But essentially, your brain has a higher self and a lower self. You call it the subconscious mind, your conscious mind, right? There's lots of ways you can kind of quantify or label these two selves within you. But your ego or your lower self, your subconscious mind, essentially it wants to stay the same. So all these different habits it wants to keep, right? So when it gives you an urge, it's giving you an old way of protecting yourself, of meeting a specific need that you have. I want you to have a conversation with that lower self. I want you to imagine it's just a younger version of you trying to get a need met the only way it knows how. And when you have the right conversation in the right way and ask the right questions, you become the parent. You have authority over them, and therefore it cannot control you. Because until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. But if you're able to have that conversation and gain authority over it, that's when you have full control over your being. If you want to learn how to do that, that's all my Dopamine Discipline course. And if you want a chance to win that, comment something down below why I should choose you for the course, and we give out a new course to a person.
Okay, so that's this guy's video. Again, check out his channel, Pinnacle of Man. This seems like really great content for me. I've never come across his stuff before, but I was looking up this topic of edging, and I really wanted to talk about that today because this is something I've struggled with a lot. But it's so important, guys. It's so obvious right now. From just the brain science aspect, the main reason we're trying to quit porn is to allow your brain to heal from the damage that is done over time by massive floods of dopamine. And if you're thinking that edging for hours at a time or little bits at a time and then walking away, then coming back to it and walking away as long as you didn't orgasm, you're thinking that you're still staying on track and you're making progress, you're fooling yourself. You're actually doing more damage by doing that. And because the main reason we're doing this challenge is to allow your brain to heal from that dopamine overdosing, and edging is just giving you more of that. So, we're not going to see the benefits of this challenge until you can stop edging and you can stop watching porn, period. There's no such thing as a little bit is okay. Like I said, and I heard in 12-step circles all the time, a little bit is too much, and too much is never enough. If you watch it at all, you will never recover from this thing. The only way to get out of the loop is to not do it at all. You can't allow yourself to get those dopamine hits. Got to stop pumping the drug. So, um, another thing that I've seen other people suggest is that if you do find yourself to where you got so close to the edge that you feel like you're kind of in the no coming back zone, it could be worth considering just going ahead and finishing, allowing yourself to release. Go ahead, have orgasm, bust that nut, get it out of your system, but do it without porn. Okay, put the technology away, connect with yourself, even if you have to fantasize or whatever. Like, think about your partner, think about your wife, think about your girlfriend, or you can even like think about the goals that you have in your life, which might sound weird, but like, if you want to have a certain amount of money manifest for you, like, you can think about that and send that energy that way. That's, you're training your brain to actually use your sexual creative energy for creating your dreams, which is a better use of it. And that's something that, like, the guy I mentioned, David Data, talks a lot about. And I believe that's where you're really shifting into being able to use this force for an empowering uh, means. So I hope you got some good tips and information from this guy, Pinnacle of Man. Check out his channel for sure. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel if you're getting a lot out of this. And yeah, big thing, man. Like, don't beat yourself up if you've been struggling with edging. Like I said, this is a trap that I've fallen into over and over and over again, and it's actually, I saw some other people talking about this. Is actually, if you are asking this question about, is edging okay, is edging bad, is it really a relapse and stuff, that's actually a really good indication that this has become a very serious addiction for you. And, this is not something to beat yourself up about, but it's actually can become even more motivation for you to work on quitting porn and having success with this challenge. Because if you have been conditioned to these huge highs of dopamine, and you've had this, like, it's definitely done some damage to your reward center, your brain. What that means is that you will have more significant benefits from quitting. You will see major shifts in your motivation level, major shifts in your overall mood level, major shifts in your ability to emotionally regulate and not get overwhelmed and upset by little things in life. You're going to see huge differences in that when you actually start to have real progress and not watch porn at all for extended periods of time. Um, you'll feel some of those, like, superpower things start to activate that many guys talk about, from their no fap challenges. So let that be motivation for you, not something to beat yourself up about. Sending much love and encouragement to you guys. Keep going strong. We've got about a week left on our March to Freedom from Porn challenge. I'm looking forward to not having to do videos every day. I am going to continue with this channel, so definitely do subscribe, because I feel like this is such an important topic. But I'll also, at the end of this month, when this challenge is over, be getting back to creating more videos with my wife, on our channel, Twin Soul Poets, and we've done some videos together about navigating porn addiction and relationships. And we're doing this tantra course together right now, which I really look forward to sharing some information about, because it has some profound exercises and educational tools about how to really start utilizing and using this energy for you rather than being controlled by it, and some really great practices for being able to start to master it, to be able to start to be in control of, like, your higher self, your subconscious mind, bring the subconscious into the conscious, and just be aware of, like, your own energy flows in your body. Is really interesting stuff. The things I'm learning in that tantra course have been just, I can't tell you how mind blowing. Um, so I really look forward to sharing some of that content. So make sure you subscribe to Twin Soul Poets as well. I have the link below on that. Um, and we also help people to manifest deep soulful love in their life. So love is an incredibly powerfully healing thing to have in your life, and it can be a huge support when you're dealing with something like this. The oxytocin that you get from connecting with a loved one is like the total opposite of the dopamine chemical, whereas dopamine is stimulating and exciting. Oxytocin is the relaxing, feel safe, feel loved, feel taken care of drug. So it's what reduces your anxiety. It's what calms your autonomic nervous system and relieves that tension in your body and mind to where you can actually relax. And from that state, like, the urges are so much less. So having real love in your life is a powerful tool for this. So definitely check out Twin Soul Poets. My wife and I have some really good content on there, and we've been helping people all over the world with our private coaching. So definitely give it a look. That being said, I'll see you guys next time on Dudes Ascend. My name is Hamilton. Peace.